Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's August 8th, 2020. This edition of Pro Wrestling Throwdown is brought to you by Bronson's Big Bag of Salted Nuts. Put them in your mouth! We're talking about Monday Night Raw. So, Luke and I, and Max as well, we decided to come up with something kind of new, something different for the content. We're going to start factoring in ratings for every single match and for every single segment. At the end, we're going to take an overall average and rate the entire show. We're also going to feature at the end of each segment who we thought was the star of that show, just to freshen up how we're doing this a little bit, change things up, see how you guys like it. We kick Monday Night Raw off completely with Apollo Crews versus MVP in a United States Championship match. Now, the U.S. Champion is acknowledged as Apollo Crews by Monday Night Raw and the WWE. He's defending his belt against MVP, who claims to be the U.S. Champion.
Was the U.S. Champion in my mind.
Yeah. They had a good match. We gave it a 3 out of 5. Only problem was it took too long. They could have wrapped it up a little bit earlier. We understand that they were doing the lights and the flickering.
What did you give it?
I gave it a 3 out of 5.
I gave it a 2 out of 5.
You both gave it a 2 out of 5.
No, that's the overall rating.
Oh.
I gave it a 2 out of 5.
Yeah. Max has got some numbers. Don't worry about it. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I liked it. It was an athletic competition. Always Apollo Crews is always engaging, and he's flippy, and he's fun. But he put on a hell of a show.
Wasn't bad.
And we were both talking about how much we love seeing, MVP get a nice career resurgence. So it was a good show. We roll right into a Sasha Banks-Bayley promo. It was what it was. They're talking about how they're both champions and blah, blah, blah. Gave that a 2 because I didn't really care.
I went 1.5.
Yeah. Kevin Owens breaks in with the Iconics in a short little vignette in the back. Then we move on to the KO show, where his guests are the Riot Squad. Well, members of the Riot Squad, starting with Ruby Riott. Liv Morgan would join him later. And I'll be damned if Kevin Owens didn't reunite the Riot Squad to wrestle the Iconics that very night. With those individual segments, I gave a 2, a 1, and a 2.
2, 1.5, 2.
Yeah, it was pretty cut and dry. Kevin Owens does the bit with the Iconics. The Iconics break up the bit after Ruby and Liv. The only reason I gave the KO show the rating I did was because it was this emotional fake cry, oh, we were enemies, and now we're friends again, and we don't know who we are, but we're going to find out together. That stuff is just getting so stale for me, it's hard to watch.
Match was decent, though.
Yeah. Cut right in after the break, to a Drew McIntyre promo. He gets interrupted by Randy Orton, but he delivers a great promo talking about how he had to work and climb and legitimately fight to get to be champion.
He wasn't handed things.
He wasn't a third-generation superstar. Randy Orton counters with Randy Orton's busted his ass for the last almost 20 years. Ric Flair's by his side. I give it a 3. They're both great talkers. And I'm genuinely excited for the Randy Orton-Drew McIntyre match.
I also gave it a 3. I think the promo work itself sells what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it sold the match for me. There wasn't any dry air about it. That's the one thing, too, with the promos, especially in front of a limited audience the way it's been. The promos get themselves a lot of closed air, open air.
Yeah.
And this one did not do that. It sold the match. I'm super excited for it. I think Orton, again, is a viable threat for McIntyre at SummerSlam.
He's the only viable threat for
that
McIntyre.
I completely agree with.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to see him take the belt off of McIntyre. Directly after that promo, Ric Flair meets Kevin Owens in the back, and Ric Flair kind of runs KO down a little bit. Tells him he's spending too much time being a guidance counselor.
From what I could understand, the rest of it was like Ric Flair was talking with marbles in his mouth.
Yeah, well, Ric Flair mumbled quite a bit. I don't know if maybe he wasn't enunciating clearly enough, but it was difficult to understand what he said.
I'm going to guess probably the new teeth.
Yeah.
Probably.
And obviously, I'm sure his age and trying to remember what he was saying.
I gave it a 2 because I understood where they were going
Gave
with
it a 2. Nia Jax promo. We all know how good that was. I gave it a 1. She's not a great promo. She gets suspended for assaulting a WWE official.
She tries to have a match with a referee.
Yeah.
Who she shoved.
Yeah, she threatens a referee.
And then she shoved him again.
Yeah, it was contrived. It was not good.
It's a way to get her off TV, which is the best course of action.
Best possible scenario for everybody involved. Get her off TV. Triple threat match for the 24/7 title. Shelton Benjamin versus Tozawa versus R-Truth. The match itself wasn't good, but Shelton Benjamin killed a ninja. Straight up booted this kid in the head and took his head clean off, and for that moment alone, I gave this spot a 3.5.
I gave it a 3. They got the belt off Shelton, so they could do what they do later on in the show with Shelton. It's a legitimate 3, solid 3.
Yeah, and Shelton Benjamin just looked like $1 million all the way through. We'll get a little bit of that here in a bit. Dominic comes up, talks about challenging Seth Rollins to a match at SummerSlam. I gave the promo a 2. he sells the match. Obviously, we know the story.
Yeah.
A little too much talk. A little bit more Dominic just hitting somebody with a kendo stick, which, again, we will get into. Because, goddamn, can Dominic swing a kendo stick?
Yeah.
Ask Seth Rollins in the back of his head. Shayna Baszler goes into a match with Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks trying to wrestle Shayna Baszler would be like Max Fury trying to wrestle a grizzly bear. Unprepared, ill-equipped. You tell him, baby girl. That was my dog. I gave it a 3 because I love Shayna's technical work in the ring, and Sasha does make a good buffering heel.
I give it a 2.5 only because of the no finish.
Yeah,
with Asuka coming in.
Finish.
Not a fan. Which
leads into an Asuka promo. Asuka again tries to do the emotional delivery with Kyrie being off TV now, with Kyrie leaving the WWE, about the situation with the golden role models, Sasha Banks and Bayley, which she challenges Sasha to a match for the women's title on Raw, and is met at the end with Shayna Baszler, who says, "No, I'm cheering for you. I want you to win, so I can take the belt off of you."
Right.
I gave it a 3. It was very intense.
Sold a future bout.
Yeah, and Shayna's intensity and Asuka's raw emotion and the fact that she's a little bit crazy made that promo work. I don't know if it would have worked if it was anybody else.
Right.
You know, if that makes sense. But the two of them in that segment and that tandem alone, I would love to see an Asuka-Shayna one-on-one, straight-up wrestling match for the women's title. We got a tease with it at the Elimination Chamber. We got another tease with it shortly after, but I want to see them go for 35 minutes.
Yeah, it would totally sell. It would put, quote unquote, would put asses in seats.
Yeah, yes. Agreed. Garza and Andrade hit a segment where they gave a girl a rose. Garza just got married. Shame on him. Leading into the tag match, I'm sorry, not a tag match, a tandem series of matches with each member of the respective Street Profits wrestling Garza and/or Andrade. I gave both of those matches a 1.
Yeah, me as well.
Montez Ford got poisoned, apparently, in the second match against Andrade. Again, contrived, not good. No good build-up. Street Profits are a damn good tag team. Let's use them as a damn good tag team.
Right.
And honestly, Andrade is a much better single star than he is a tag team, but if he's going to be in the tag team, make it work. Make me believe the tag team. And Garza's not a bad partner for him to have.
No, he's really not. It's the dropping the silliness and actually putting in the work that they need to step up.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I gave those a 1. I didn't like the poisoning angle. I didn't like it when they did it with the Big Show in the Apple with Carlito in 2005. That stuff just, it doesn't work.
Right.
On a wrestling television show, not a fan. Murphy and Rollins cut a promo where Murphy kind of babbles on. Rollins doesn't say anything and walks out of the segment. Zelina and her crew is found again in Montez's Ford at the door where he's being treated. Comes into a big schmoz. I gave that a 1. We see the aforementioned group and promoed group, Retribution, destroy a generator outside. I gave that a 1.
I've given all of those the exact same score.
Yeah,
ones.
did not help anybody, didn't hurt anybody, but I don't care about Andrade, Garza, and Zelina, and that was a terrible way to debut this great big faction or whatever.
Then we jumped into the MVP and the Hurt Business, talking about the lights flickering, the crew outside, how it's an unsafe working place, that they wanted to know what was going on. They found the fight underground and gave it a 1.
Yeah, gave that a 1 as well.
Even after they destroyed that, it actually did nothing to the electric system.
Yeah, all the lights were still on, all the cameras were still working. They were just, again, contrived bad television.
Yeah.
However, hot damn, did this next segment not get a 5 out of me.
Me as well.
Seth Rollins starts cutting on Tom, the broadcaster, and threatens him with Murphy, only to get shut down by my man Samoa Joe. Basically says, you're not going to do that. You think you're going to bring him over here. I'll slap you in the lips and beat down your disciple in front of you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Joe flexing on them was so good. And I loved after the whole segment, which we'll talk about, but Joe's face at the end of it, where he just looked so full of life and
and the knuckle bump.
Yeah, the knuckle bump looked great. Samoa Joe's a badass anyway. Nobody just goes for Joe. So
it was kind of that throwback to the old Taz
Yeah.
You're not going to touch.
You're not going to slap nobody.
I dug it.
And then Rollins and Murphy fuck off back into the ring to start threatening Joe, and Dominic shows up out of nowhere and cracks Seth Rollins right in the back of the fucking head with a kendo stick, and I mean swung for the fences.
Vicious.
A lot of good offense on Dominic's part. Hits a 619, hits a great big dive, fights off both Rollins and Murphy, sets up Rollins challenge or accepting the challenge from Dominic in a match at SummerSlam. Take my money.
Yes, totally.
The only way it could get better for me personally is if Dominic turns heel on Rey Mysterio and starts calling himself Dominic Guerrero. For wrestling fans who know what that is, good on you for being a good fan. We decided to rate Raw Underground all together, even though it did happen in moments throughout the show. Interesting.
Big E, what would you give it?
5. Interesting concept. It's very reminiscent of the Timothy Thatcher, Matt Riddle pit fight without the pit. Right. It's a ring without ropes. It's guys just fighting the WWE style, obviously, but it was gritty. It was hard-hitting, and Shelton Benjamin, my God, is an animal.
I found it very entertaining. I think the Viking coming in, Eric doing what he did,
Dolph
doing what he did, Babatunde,
yeah.
I don't know what he calls himself now, they gave him some other kind of name, killed those two guys pretty fast.
Yeah.
I mean, all in all, 5. Interesting. I'm curious to see if they stick with it.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where it could go. Could we get like a whole segment of Underground at the end of every Raw? Are we going to get like an Underground champion? Whatever it is, I'm here for it.
I think it's going to push the Hurt Business.
It's going to be big for the Hurt Business, and it's a good way to use guys we know have legitimate backgrounds. You know, I can't wait till Matt Riddle shows up on Underground.
Right.
Or Timothy Thatcher. Or Walter.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Please take my money. I gave that segment a 5 as well. All together. So, Max, you've got all of our numbers. What did our overall rating for Raw come out, respectively?
You both gave it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. Not a good Raw.
It had its moments.
2 5-star segments and a whole lot of blue.
Yeah, pretty much.
For 3 hours. Come on, guys. Give us better content to go off.
It was a building show. They took what they could throw against the wall, see what sticks.
That's true, and it did introduce us to the Dominic segment and the Raw Underground. If I got to start tuning in on Raw at 10 o'clock every night, please let me.
Right.
Let me skip the first 2 hours, because I would love that. What did you guys...
Definitely make Saturdays easier.
What did you guys think about Raw? What did you think about Raw Underground? What did you think about Dominic? Are you guys into it? The Retribution faction? Are you not? Let us know in the comments down below after you like and subscribe. Send us an email at prowrestlingthrowdown@gmail.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/prowrestlingthrowdown. And stay tuned! Because we got the SmackDown review coming up right after this.